Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second episode of 2 plus 2 equals 5. This is a place where the rules are optional, the math rarely adds up, and the questions matter more than the answers. We live in a world today where the rules don't always work. The formulas we have for success quite often feel outdated. And 2 plus 2 for plus equals 5 is a podcast for those who are ready to question, challenge, and redefine what's possible. Along with me today, I've got my co-hosts, Lauren and Luke.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Today, before we carry on, we're going to be just highlighting Luke. We're going to be talking about Luke throughout this. And he's also a person whose 2 plus 2 wasn't adding up to the normal answers. So I don't know what he'd done differently. But today we're going to talk about him a little bit. So Luke, what do you want to start with?
What do I want to start with? It's a very important first question that I do not have the answer to.
How did you get to here where you are today?
Many moons ago. It started with my parents, I think, and then a few years later it led to many things, and then me growing up, and then me ending up finding up here. But no, I mean, I think it's I'm trying to think back. I mean, I've been a very weird
How long have you been with us?
Been with Core Team for 2.5 years now.
Just about, right?
Just about right.
Just about made it.
Couple of stairs in between, but here we are.
Couple of hairy moments. You've developed, right? Over the last 3 or 5 years.
I think definitely.
Well, you started, from what I remember, you started in recruitment, you went away from recruitment, and then you came back to recruitment, or you started in sales, went away from it, came back. When you went away, what wasn't working?
It's quite funny because when I think back to it, I mean, I to actually speak about it, I've had such a varied career in many sense. Like looking back, there's so much that I've done. Like I came out of school and I was gonna be this glorious idea of being an architect. That went well, clearly. Then I was going to.
Were you trying to be a footballer at one point?
Well, that was another career line that took a turn and with a bad broken leg.
Then it was that, or was it your Peter Beardsley stature?
Yeah, I mean, I referred to myself as Lionel Messi for a period of time because he was also short.
No. He was fine at 10. Don't over exaggerate your height. He was 5'10".
It's all right. I've heard the camera adds on a little bit anyway, so we're fine certainly in these podcasts. But you know, it's yeah. And then I mean, I've done so much. Like I had a period where I was in the building trade doing labouring. I went into recruitment. I was doing an apprenticeship in business management and getting to know all areas of the business. Came out, did insurance sales. I've done recruitment.
How old are you again?
28 this month, going on 44 by the sound of it. So yeah, it's been
judging by the sound of it. Judging by the sound of it, 2 years at Core Team, 2.5 years at Core Team, we've done pretty well holding on to you.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean that was a steady period of time, but I think where we are now is yeah, it's a lot more of a steady ship, shall we say, than what it has been over the last 10 years or so.
What's been your favourite part of your career so far? You've obviously covered a lot of different career things that you've done there. If you could pick one thing, what's been the most favourite?
I mean, I think, honestly speaking, I would say the last year. The last year, I think I have found out more about myself and kind of where I want to be, and kind of defining a clearer path to success and to what I need to do to make things work and to understand something properly. But then at the same point, I think looking back, like I've worked with so many different people across so many different industries and done so many different jobs. I mean, at one stage I was, you know, a service engineer, and I was climbing 150 foot up a ladder to go and clean an environmental sensor. So like it's chalk and cheese to where I am. So yeah.
Why did you go in all of those directions?
Do you know what? I think naturally sales environments were and talking to people and being in communication and having conversations with people was something that I think I've always had and always wanted to do, and quite like the sound of my own voice from time to time people would tell me. So it's, I think people used to say gift of the gab or something. I don't know, maybe got lost in translation, but I think it's one of those things where I think it's sometimes you do when you feel like you click with something. And I don't know if that's the same with yourself, Lauren, in your space and what you do. And Paul, I know you're still trying to figure that out, but it's one of those situations where it's like when you feel like you can connect with what you do, and that's talking with people, trying to understand and having those conversations, try and find people new opportunities and help businesses as well. I feel like that's kind of my calling.
So if little Luke was growing up again, what sort of advice would you give little Luke growing up?
It's the
Yeah, so little Luke of tomorrow and little Luke of today.
Same as little Luke of yesterday.
Do you know what? I think, probably a lot of things I would say to myself in terms of advice, but I think openly speaking, I think explore. I think don't restrict yourself. I think you have to. I think when you look back and as you do get older, and I hate to play, getting on and things, but you look back on things as you do get older and you see different snippets of what you can take from those environments, and they kind of help you in today's world. Something completely out and related to what I do now, but maybe I learned from, I don't know, someone on a building site, 10 years ago. It's like all of a sudden it translates into a conversation in today. And I think just taking all these little lessons you learn from people along the way will help you get to where you want to be.
So over the last, how's life changed for you over the last sort of 5 years? Like you've tried various things. You've done over the last 3-4 years, stuck to the same thing, or the same similar sort of trade. How does that change your life? Because a lot of people don't know what to decide, especially a lot of young people coming in. They're trying to make out what to do. They're coming out to university. Their parents are telling them do this, and education's telling them do this, and friends are telling them do this. What would you say to them?
I think very early on in your career, like I think certainly from like one of the experiences that I had, I remember it being a big competition when you're young. Like you're coming out and you have conversations with your mates, and certainly in my case, and it was always about who's earning the most money then and there, who's doing this, who's seen in the most like senior position out of everyone. And I think the thing is that I think if you don't run the race, then you're never going to get to the finish line. And I think sometimes it takes people a bit longer. And certainly with myself, I've been around the houses to get to kind of this point now. Exactly. Producer Raoul would love the fact that we can mention the steps that I win on a daily basis. But
you might have competition there. I might be catching up to you.
Well, I mean,
if you both stop, I'll catch up to you guys in about a year.
I just put mine on the dog, let him run off with it. It's fine.
I think it's really important that people also at work are themselves, right? And in life for themselves. You've had a few embarrassing moments with us, but what's been your highlight of embarrassing moments for you in your work career?
Trying to think. I mean,
I can name a couple, but I don't know if I'm allowed to mention on the podcast.
I mean,
was it getting left on the yacht?
I mean, getting left on the yacht, yeah, 100%. I mean,
having to make them turn around and cost them like another $5,000 worth of petrol.
Yeah, that was one. Another one was actually when I was 18, 19, and I was going.
It wasn't in Barcelona a few years ago.
No, that wasn't.
Oh, okay, no, sorry, go on. 18, 19,
and I was super excited because I got told I could go and work in the Ireland division. We had in a sales role, and I went out in Dublin on the first night and got slightly excited by the atmosphere and everything in Dublin. And I didn't wake up in Dublin, and I didn't know where I woke up, and it was about 3 hours away from Dublin, which was an interesting find. And that was day one in the new office, so that was a good start.
A good start.
When did you get sent back?
About 2 weeks later, once I sobered up. But yeah, no, it was good. It was good. But look, I think it's one of those things where, you do it once and then you learn, don't you? You learn that you can't act like a kid anymore. You're actually in a job. So yeah, and so I did the same last year where I got left on a yacht. So as you can tell, I've changed quite a bit.
You definitely have. The math definitely not math for you ever, does it? It's like you're getting left everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I just don't get an answer.
Or getting sent home early. What a thing. We won't go into that one yet, though. One day we'll talk about that, but I might need to get permission from the vendor for that.
If a customer or a colleague was to say something about you, what would it be? What would be the kind of things customers or colleagues might say about you?
I think, there's a very unserious answer to that, and then there's a slightly more serious answer. I think more along the lines of, I think people would probably say passion. I think people probably would say passion. I agree with what you said there, Paul. So I think that's the thing. I think one thing that I have always been good at is tenacity, and I always try to work 100%. If it's for a customer, if it's for a candidate, I'll always give 110%. And so I think people do notice that. I think early on in my career, it probably come across a little bit too hasty at times. So I think as you get into a position, you get more familiar with your surroundings and you speak to more people, you realize how you can tweak that instead of coming across really hasty and sometimes like a little, Jack Russell and yap, and to actually directing that passion and that kind of energy into the right way. So I think that's probably what most customers, I hope, would say anyway, more than anything else.
Would your customer really say that?
Would they?
Would they say that you're tenacious?
Clearly not.
I don't know. I'm not one of your customers.
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, okay. That's fair. What do you want to get out the next few weeks? What do you want to add to people that are listening?
I think, look, we've started this in a very kind of, jokey way, but I think there's an underlying thing here, right? For me in particular, where it's everyone gets to different points in different ways. And I don't think there's a right way, there's a wrong way. You can make umpteen amount of mistakes along the way and you can still end up being successful at what you do. It depends on how you want to be seen, how you want to progress. And I think ultimately, for me in particular, I think I'm probably quite a good case in point of someone that has made mistakes, that has gone down the wrong path, that has tried to do different things, done a lot of different industries in a short period of time, in the last 12 years, and all of a sudden I find myself in a business where I'm succeeding, I'm doing well, and things are figuring themselves out. But I don't think you can ever get there by simply trying to follow the status quo. I wouldn't advise doing everything I've done, of course, but at which point, there's little snippets to take from it.
Good. So if you were a kid in primary school again, would you be the first or the last to be picked for the football team?
I'm quite fortunate because I was normally one of the captains, so I was actually one picking. So
I never. You can still play for the under-15s.
I know the ginger and grey in my beard is it's not flattering me at 27 anymore.
Have you ever met any famous football players in person?
I actually met Sir Geoff Hurst, who scored in the only time that we have won a World Cup, which was fantastic. I actually met him. I've played and trained with Chelsea Football Club and players there at the time. John Terry was one that I got to train and play with in a one-on-one session. So
School summer camp.
I did a school summer camp, but it was more Man United focused at the time. But that didn't get to meet anyone. I just got a school summer camp of playing for Man United, going to Old Trafford, and then getting given a pencil book with some rubbers and Man United pencils. So it was really flattering.
You know, it's amazing how many salespeople come from have played sports at a good level when they were younger. And the recruitment's full of ex-football, apparently semi-pros or
Really?
footballs. 100%. Like you go to an agency and you walk into a sales floor, every person you're going to talk to, yeah, is a semi-pro footballer. I was like, yeah, great. Of course you were. That's why you're sitting next to me today.
I think it's just the story to tell, isn't it? Try and make ourselves sound a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. What a sales. I remember at my first recruitment job, we went to, we had a football tournament in the first year. And it was the first ever football tournament that they held because they had loads of small brands within the business. And in the first half of the day of the football tournament, we ended up with one fractured arm, a dislocated shoulder, and a broken leg. So the tournament had to be called off and never hosted again. So that's recruiters for you. Great footballers.
Chaos.
What they didn't say was that they used to play rugby football and not football.
Yeah. Sounds like a bit of controlled chaos there.
Any place where you get a bunch of salespeople or a group of recruiters or traders or anything in the finance industry, it's going to be carnage.
100%.
Lauren, what bars do you go to that are just carnage whenever you go? Or what was the last evening you went to?
Usually I go to gay bars, to be fair, and they're usually quite entertaining, so they are. Yeah, they can get quite messy, so they can. That'll be a full conversation on the next episode when you're talking to me one-to-one.
Luke, what happened that day when you got left on the boat? Lauren, you weren't there.
You were asking the wrong person because I was asleep.
How did they even forget you? It must have felt like a Home Alone moment where you're in that movie.
It was orchestrated by Paul.
No, it wasn't actually. It was orchestrated by producer Raoul, who told me everybody was off the boat. Who went up to check, but it wasn't our fault that you were asleep right at the back where nobody even bothered turning around to have a look whether you were there or not. But yeah, it just shows how much impact you were making on the trip. You know, like everybody forgot that you were there.
Yeah, clearly leave a lasting impression, don't I?
Yeah. Dude, what's been your biggest success?
I mean, look, I would have to say, the last 12 months, right? I mean, in terms of where I am with some of the revenue that's been generated, I think this is, you know, getting into the realms of clearly, you know, the most revenue I've ever been achieving in a sales environment.
You did last year what you did in your whole career before that.
And some, yeah. So,
so what changed?
I think it's a little bit of freedom, right? I think it was a little bit of freedom. I think also who you surround yourself with massively. I think if we look at like the team that we've had here, the people that we've had in the business, the people I surround myself on a daily basis, I think that's what spurs you on. And I kind of got to that point where it's, you know, you don't just want to be sat here and like, you know, not putting any figures on the board, and, you know, you don't want to be winning. When you see people in this team, and, you know, even I call out one of our colleagues, Michael, but, you know, having so much success, I mean, you want a snippet of it. And I think just seeing that over and over and over again just drove me in, you know, after 12 months, let's say, kind of putting my feet under the table and getting familiar with the Workday ecosystem, that actually there was room for me to do something similar. So I guess it was just that.
Here's a bit of a riddle for you. Here's a bit of conundrum. Where do you think the Workday market's going in the next 5 years from your experience of working in the Workday market?
I mean, I think it's changed dramatically even from my time in here. I mean, if I look at certainly with the recruitment model and market from 2-3 years ago, I think that things have changed drastically with the economy, which has played an impact. I think,
and everybody thinks they can do recruitment.
And that,
honestly, amount of people that have set up management consultancies that have then said, "Oh yeah, if recruiters can do management consulting, then we must be able to do recruitment." No, you can't sell. You know, the only thing we can do is sell.
100%. And then we get other people on the other side that can actually do the work properly.
That's where we got Lauren, right? It means we sell, we get Lauren to do the work.
Yeah, I think the problem is, I think from what I saw, especially in the last, I would say after the summer period of last year was when the market changed, but it also coincided with probably that boost, like you say, Paul, there, where it was that boost of where everyone thought they could just dive right in, right? So it just really boosted the market with, people coming in and in the recruitment space or consulting space. But the problem is, I think people tend to forget that it takes time of a reputation. It takes time to build a network. And I think the point we're at now is that cross limbo, right? A lot of companies who are in the Workday ecosystem are expanding and doing other things, and they're going to start creating and going through different projects. I think net new customers, probably because the economy has dropped down a little bit, but I think everyone's in this limbo where the buzzword AI is starting to take shape. Businesses are starting to actually move ahead with it instead of spending, the last 12 to 18 months saying, we're going to be looking at AI, because that's what a lot of people were doing. So I think the next 12 months will be interesting to see what people actually achieve with AI and how much that then impacts the rest of the ecosystem.
You know what? It's now's really a time where people are trying to, there's a proper technological advance happening, and the math definitely isn't mathing for everyone at the moment. They all think they know what they're doing, but I don't think anybody knows what they're doing with AI really properly.
No,
100%.
You've seen customers trial things and end up pulling the plug on it because it just doesn't work for them.
No.
Yeah, I think people are just trying to overcomplicate it too much. I think, if they were looking at it from a purpose of how can they get the best out of the current people now, how can they get the more out of them by putting systems and agents in place to help them do that, rather than how do we replace them, they might get a better result. But I think there's too much thought about how can we now replace. But I read an article somewhere or a post somewhere. I don't know. I can't remember who was saying it, and I find it really interesting that the next trillionaire, not billionaire, but the next trillionaire that comes out, it could be one person in their home office with a whole group of agents.
Yeah.
Could absolutely be, right? They could be running a whole business. They could be doing everything with just AI agents. So yeah, that I'm interested to see where that goes. But we've been talking for a little while. It's good to get to know you a bit, Luke. Next week we're either going to get to know Lauren or we're going to get to know me, and it'll be a bit of a surprise. Let's see. But good talking to you guys. Good to speak to you again today. And what are you up to this week?
Golf. A lot of golf.
Are you
I've taken up golf. So
when are we going to play?
We can play. Well, should we take tomorrow afternoon off and play tomorrow afternoon?
I will, but I don't think you're going to do that.
That's a very fair point. I'll put my holiday request in.
I'll ask. I'll see if they'll approve it for you. Nope. What about you, Lauren?
Me, I've got a lot of stuff going on around a little side hustle I'm working on around life coaching. Trying to launch a life coaching side hustle. A lot of people come to me for advice, so trying to see how I can monetize that in some way. By bringing a little bit of extra money for myself.
Oh mate, I want to learn about that. Let's be talking about that. I'm looking forward to talk about this.
I think this episode might have just ruled me out of that industry.
You never know.
Just noticing that.
Yeah.
No, that'd be interesting. Great to learn more.
Well, just in case you want to know, I see that both of you asked. I'm not up to much this week at all. I'm going to be at work and I'm going to be working. Although tomorrow now I might go and play some golf. We'll definitely try to go fishing one or two of these days. But next week I'm going to be digging into what you guys have been doing, so come prepared. I'm going to be asking about what you've been up to. And we're going to be digging more into Lauren, who's got a very interesting background, and I'm sure would love to share it with us. But thank you everybody for joining us. Good to speak to these two. I don't know if it was or not.
We're an interesting bunch of people, so we are. We're an interesting bunch of people.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. If you enjoyed what you heard, we'll see you next week. And if you didn't, we'll see you next week anyway. But good to speak to you. Speak to you later. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.